Hi there, Jonathan here, Central Plateau, North Island, New Zealand, right in the centre. Got some planting to do today. Thought I'd bring you along and we can have a look at what's going on. I've got a few trays of these Libertia. These are a New Zealand native, called a New Zealand iris, Libertia grandiflora. They're an evergreen perennial, clump forming sort of grass. You get about half a metre high and a metre wide. So I'm going to put, I think I've got 50 odd here. I've got some more, but I'm going to try and see if I can get 50 in here. So I'll turn you around and show you where I'm going to put them and try and sort of populate this area. So I'm going to put them in this area here. I reckon they look all right. They're already about 6 inches high, glossy green leaves. They have a little star white flower springtime through into summer, and then they have berries after that. All of that's above the foliage though. Libertia grandiflora have their flowers, tiny little white 3-petaled flowers up above the foliage. So what I'm thinking of doing is putting them in this area here, which is sort of a extension and a rebuild and a continuation of gardens. It's kind of like it's almost like a walk-through area, but I'd like it to be mass planted. So as you come up from this area here, so you come down, this is a slope down here, come down here, I'm going to mass plant on the left and the right and have a little bit of a path kind of going through, kind of around through there, a little bit of a curved kind of a path, and I'll just mass plant out to that side, a little bit to this side, possibly not too much in front of the rhododendrons since the grasses will get half a metre high, and then I'll just stop just before the barrow. So it's just this area in here. So they're going to be a little bit tiny looking when they first go in, but they're going to grow and I think they'll look quite good. So let's get into it. I might knock them all out of their trays first, and that'll make it quicker and easier to plant. I'll scrape off any weeds and moss that's on the top. I don't need to be planting other things apart from my plants, so I'll get rid of the rubbish off the top and we'll see how we go. Let's give it a crack. So I'm just putting them into this compost as well, just a little bit of compost, just to help them along a little bit. It's not the flashiest ground right here, it has been dug and scraped a little over time, so this should help them come away well. Right, got those in the ground, so they came up good. It already looks more alive, more populated. Of course, putting plants in amongst mulch or compost will always bring it to life. It's always a good thing when you're landscaping and you put the plants in for the client and instantly it looks 100% better, even though they haven't grown yet. So I put them in that compost that I was using the other day for transplanting the deciduous trees, which is a Dalton's product, Garden Basics. It's a compost with a bit of pine bark and stuff in it. So after putting these Libertia in, I was wondering whether I should put some along the side of this path, which I'm going to put something on here. I need this path to be all covered in on each side, just to make it a bit more interesting. Oh look, there's a weeder there. There's Brenna doing some weeding. She likes weeding.
It's more like playing in the sand.
Playing in the sand. I've just pulled out a whole lot of Japanese anemone from around here. which I knew would eventually be a pain and frustrate us. So we pulled them out and we've put some Leonotis in. There's an orange one that I grew from cutting, white one and another orange one. So they'll get up a good metre and a half high. However, back to these Libertia, I don't think I will put them in here because I'm actually wanting this to be more of a wilderness, sort of a flower garden, or a woodland, probably a better word. Whereas over here it was always planned to change shape and design. We'd come through probably across just this flat little bridge here where this sort of drain area is that I've got to finish playing with, and then you wander through all of these grasses, I think, and then off down there, which is our... Anyway, the Libertia are in the ground, so that's good. That was a job that was going to get done for the last 2 or 3 months. Now the other planting we're going to look at today is over here. We'll go for a wander. I've got some Hydrangea Pee Wee. I think I've only got 13. I actually wanted 24 from memory, but we've got 13 at the moment, so I'll start with them. And I want to put them in between our birches along this area here, which I'll show you. So this is, and our paddock goes out towards our little bush block, and we've named this the avenue. So we've got at the beginning, left and right, 2 Acer rubrum. Then we've got silver birches all the way down here, and on the left and the right we're going to try a wildflower garden this end of this year when it warms up. I'm going to drag the harrows across all that grass and rough it up and rake it up and get down to the soil, and the walkway carries on down there. There's another 2 Acer rubrum on the left and the right here, and then the birches carry on and they eventually stop down round the corner there, and there's 2 Acer rubrum at the end. So there's 2, 4, 6 Acer rubrum and the rest are birches. So I'm going to put another birch in between each of these birches, so on in the gap, but out about 3 or 4 metres. So when you walk down this avenue, you won't just have a single line, you'll have a line and behind them, like you've got those 2 there, so I'll put another one out about here, and then the same with the next gap, put one out about there, so there'll be another line going all the way down there, and the same on this side. However, I'm going to drag the harrows and rough that up first so I don't have to dodge trees, and prepare it for the wild flowers seeds that we're going to sow. I might even put some actual plants in. We've saved a whole lot of seeds off various things earlier in the year, so we'll get to that as the seasons progress. But I've got hydrangeas, so I'm going to put them at the front of this area, and I wanted, these plants are about 4 metres apart, so I was going to put just 2 Hydrangea Pee Wee, 1, 2, just back in off the grass a little bit, and I wanted to put them in every gap, and I was just going to do them in this first section and then have the wildflowers in behind them, just so I have a bit of structure for the whole year, and when the wildflowers die down we've still got something going on. So I might plant those now, and I think I'll just put them into one in each gap, but just in 1/3 like that, and I'll just leave a gap until I get another one. If I don't get another one, or I want to put another hydrangea or some other plant, then all's good. I want a little bit of symmetry to it. So let's go and grab the hydrangeas and whack them in the ground. So there's the Hydrangea Pee Wee. 13 of them like I thought I had. They're in a 5 litre container, which I've taken them out of the container and pulled the weeds off the top. Some of them aren't the flashest shape. That one's not too bad. I mean, that's a good shape, but a bit of a difference in height. Anyway, they were the last ones where I got them from, so I took them. 24 is what I want, 13 is what I've got so far, so I'll find some more. They're a bit curly, some of them. It's heading that way. Having said that, they're sort of not a bad size, so I'm going to plant them a bit crooked so that they go vertical. Either way, they'll grow. Put them in some compost, and probably won't trim them or anything. I'll just leave them till next year. I don't know. I'll see what happens. Put them in, see how they look. If they're really bad, I'll give them a cut or a trim, and if they're not, then they can stay as they are. They get probably a metre high, and yeah, we've got a couple down at the house. They'd be metre, a bit more. An old school, maybe 4 feet wide, 3.5 feet high. They have this real, see, they'd normally have more greeny leaves when they're spring and summer, but this time of the year they go the real sort of dark purple. You're pretty much sort of purple with those real winter colours. They like to be in the shade really, or dappled sun possibly, which I think they'll be alright under these birches once they get some leaves on. The birches were about this high when I put them in, so just above waist height. That was September last year, so we're in the end of June now. So what's that, about 9 months ago, 10 months ago, somewhere around there. And they're already, they'd be 8 feet high. They're not very bushy, but we'll see what this spring brings them. I'm expecting them to get a lot bigger, and we'll also put those others in, second layer out, so eventually they'll be shady. One down at the house is on the northern side of the house with a little bit of shelter around it, but it does get a bit of sun and it's fine. And we've got one on the other side of the house on the south, and it's fine, and it stays in leaf just about all year. It's not nearly as deciduous, so I think these will be fine here. So I'll dig some holes and get them in the ground, and we'll see how it goes. Mingle a bit of compost in, like I was saying. It's actually not bad looking, not too bad a looking stuff, is it? That's only down the depth of the spade. If you can see the colour of that, you can see it's quite friable. And it's not bad stuff. It's had a bit of rain on it too, so it's not dry. Well, that went pretty well. All those hydrangeas are in the ground, so I'll take you along and show you what's up with them. So once I got them in the ground and got them standing up straight, they actually look fairly good. I mean, they're a decent size, they're just, some of them were a bit crooked. I'm going to put cages around them where you get hares and we get rabbits. They dig holes around the roots, which is like, so not what a gardener would do. When you see it, you just think, who on earth would dig a hole right in by the root? And it's just crazy. The rabbits eat the plants, which is okay if the plants are big. You don't notice a branch eaten, but when they're small and they eat a branch, then it's a bit of a hassle really, because it's like a year's growth or more, a couple of years' growth nibbled off in one bite, and it might be a third or half of your plant gone. The hares, well, they're a completely different kettle of fish. They don't eat them, they just bite them, cut them off like a pair of secateurs on a 45-degree angle, and then carry on. So that's just outright vandalism. So I had a whole lot of cages. I have heaps of cages that I make out of wire netting. I've had them for a long time now, and I just go and get them when I need them. I leave them set up. So it's just wire netting, cut round in a circle, bit of wire, and I just use a couple of wire pins to hold them, peg them each side, and they stay there until the plants, quite often the plants get too big for the cage, so that takes care of that, and I can then pull the cage off. Or if I decide the plant is big enough and not going to get eaten, so I just put them around like that. The rabbits or hares don't dig holes to get under, they're not that excited about going to the plant. It's more the fact if they can walk past and destroy it. So I'll cage each of these, might give them a little tickle up with a bit of, might give them a drink of water. Fertiliser, I'm not going to fertilise them, and I'm not going to trim them or cut them back. It's the middle of winter anyway, so it's a bit early to be cutting back hydrangeas and roses in our neck of the woods. I think this week coming we're looking at frosts, 1 and -1 Celsius later in the week. So we don't need to go cutting things back and promoting new growth. There'll be plenty more frost coming too over the next few months. So yeah, cutting back things like this is not the time of the year. But we should get some good weather this week, so we'll have a look around. I've got a couple of maples I want to transplant, which I might do tomorrow, so I'll tag that into this video as well. And I've got to move a water feature and another little plant before I can move these two small maples. They're just a bit sunny where they are, so we'll look at that. So next time we chat, probably be tomorrow morning, and we'll carry on. Well, I had a change of plan. We'll move the maples, but maybe another day or two, so I won't put it into this video, so this will be the end of it for today. Thanks for coming along, thanks for watching, good to have you along, and I'll see you next time. Try and get some time outside if you can, in the garden, out in the bush, out in the wilderness somewhere. Maybe if it's not good weather or you're unable to, maybe you can catch something on the telly. We'll see you later from New Zealand. Woo!